I'm going to show you this real quick. It may be a bit dark, but I'm going to show you some of the things you run into. I replaced these bushings. This is the driver's side. I know I replaced these bushings, and I swore I replaced the pins before. And on this side, the bottom one, I know I did, because as you can tell, the pin comes in from the top. It goes towards the bottom of the door. However, it looks like this pin has been out before, and I'm sure I've done it because it goes up, but as you can see, you can't go up very high before you run out of space. That pin is literally going to be cut off there unless you pull the door off of the hinge. I must have picked it up there far enough to get something separated. I don't know what I did to get that bushing, unless I didn't replace that bushing. Let me show you the other side, though. This is factory. You can tell this has never been apart before, because as you can see, the bottom pin goes in from the bottom. And as you can tell, again, same issue. There's no way you can run that pin down and get it out from the door. There's just no space. And then of course the same, I've got the door partially open, that's why you can't see it, and I don't see enough light in there to see, but I've got the same problem there. So what I'm going to do is close this door back up. I got a jack under it kind of supporting it because I was going to pull those pins, but this is not going to work as I thought. So I'm going to reclose the door, and I'm going to pull the bolts out from the door side of the hinge. I'm going to tell you from past experience, those will come loose. The ones on the main structure, whatever you want to call it, bottom A-pillar, door jamb, I don't care what you want to call this. You can see though they've seam sealed around them to keep the liquid from getting inside. These have never been off. If I were you, I would not take those off. There is somewhat of an adjustment there, back and forth, up and down, or specifically up and down, and then kind of move the door, fore and aft, because you also have adjustments on the door this way to go in and out, to adjust the door, kind of top to bottom. And anyway, there's adjustments, infinite adjustments on these particular vehicles that have the hinge that bolts to that side and hinge that bolts to the door side. If you take those hinges clear off, it takes a lot longer to try to realign these doors. So my suggestion is, do not take the ones off of the car itself unless you just don't have choice. Accident damage, or they're just so wore out. On the GM trucks, specifically the 88 up, where they welded the inside hinge on, which with the truck side, the cab side, where these are welded on. Now a lot of people think they're glued. They're not. They're actually welded. Instead of the bowl holes sticking out, they actually put big old plug welds in them, and then they seam seal all the way around them to keep the moisture out. You have some adjustment on the door, not very much. Usually when they get out, you see people with jumping up and down in 2x4s under them and jacks and stuff trying to adjust the doors, and that's how they got to do it. There's no other way to do those when they get so far out. The problem is when people let the bushings get really bad, and I've had this on an 89, and I had this on a 2000 S10, the bushings have been let go so bad and so long that I end up having to pull the door off, leaving the hinge, and then weld the hole shut, re-drilling them for the new pins and bushings, because they were so wallered out there's just no way to repair them. You put a new bushing in, and the brass would break instantly because it's so oblong, the holes were so bad. So if they've got slop in them, I really suggest replacing the pins and bushings in them. It's sometimes easier to pull the door. It's definitely easier to have two people. I actually got this glass out of these doors just a minute ago by myself. I will not try to put them back in by myself. That's a two-person job for sure. It was about two-person to get them out. They're very heavy. I don't have a scale here. I'd weigh them. The door I thought was going to be light enough that I could pick up and maneuver myself, but it's just not going to be that way. I'm still going to have to use a jack. Of course, doing it this way may be a bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on a tripod. I'm going to take the jack out, close the door, take those bolts out, and then I'll pull that door. So let me put you back on the tripod. Sorry about moving you all around. Looks like you're getting seasick and stuff. I'll move this down where you can I'm kind of going to be in the road. It's not really on purpose, but it's kind of how it works. Myself, a buddy of mine who doesn't prefer to be on camera, I'm not big on it myself, but sometimes you just really don't have a choice. I'm going to close the door. It doesn't have to be closed all the way. things. Nope, I lost that bit. By doing this, getting the door out of the way, this will allow me to get the pins out, and I'll have to run them in from the bottom and then one from the top. That's how the new ones are kind of supposed to be. I don't like them that way. This way is better. The pin has a lot less tendency to walk up as the doors open and close. In that 89 that I had a lot of trouble with the bottom one, believe it or not. Even though it came in from the top, I didn't weld that one up because it didn't seem to be as bad. Well, that was kind of a mistake because it ended up about every fourth time I opened it, I'd have to reach in there, jerk the door, and push that thing back down by hand. And there's ways I could have stopped that from happening, but that one's going to be a little more difficult because of that. Obviously, it's gone. There's supposed to be a little wheel here on this pin that hangs down, and then that spring goes from here to here. That one I just took out by hand because it's also missing that wheel. That wheel actually leaves it out this far, keeps pressure on that spring. And then when you open your door, it collapses that spring and puts a lot more tension on it. And then those rollers set in these, and that's how the doors stay open. Otherwise, when you don't have that, you run into this, even without the weight. It's a lot different now that the glass is not there. But generally, when those are there, when you let go of the door will sit there. But when the spring is gone, this is what they end up doing. They won't stay open. When they got the glass in them and stuff, these things are heavy. And if you're a little bit of an incline, these things will, they'll hit your leg. It's just happened a lot of times. And anyway, so it needs this pin replaced anyway. I can barely even see it. I don't even know which way it goes in and out. I'm gonna have to. I think it's got a keeper up there. I can't really tell. I won't know until I get this thing off. That's going to be kind of a pain because it doesn't want to go on there. So I may have to. I don't think it goes up or comes in from the top because it's going to have to come in from the bottom. So it's actually going to have to go down that way. I may have to shut you off for a bit.